got like a piece of wood up there trying to hold it up. Let's see if we can turn that here at all. Oh, that's the... No, that's San Jose over there. San Jose Market.
Yeah, that's where we ate.
That's behind there's where we ate.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pull out of here.
I think there used to be a stoplight here.
There's turn lanes. I see them.
I'm hoping with someone we can get her out of there.
So for anybody actually listening to the audio, Ryan Ross and John Latcher here, on a work trip out here in Saipan, and got hit by a Category 5 Super Typhoon. So we had 2 rental cars. Well, we have our second one right now. We had an Enterprise one that took a light pole through the windshield. So Enterprise picked it up yesterday. We got to head up to the airport and fill out an accident report. So figured I'd pop the GoPro on the dash of the rental car, and kind of as we're driving around, I'll just basically post the entire video to YouTube, and if anyone wants to look at it, they can scroll through it, they can fast forward through it, they can whatever. Just kind of gives you a feel of what it looks like right now. This is what, Saturday, October 27th. Typhoon hit Thursday, so it's a couple days afterwards. Most of the main roads, they've got the light poles and electric poles. If they were wooden, they're kind of cut up and move off the road. There's a whole bunch of concrete ones that are down too, so the roads are pretty clear, but the whole island has no power, no water. I just saw this morning that the president signed an emergency declaration for a disaster area, so FEMA and everybody was actually already here, because I guess 2 weeks ago a typhoon hit a different island in the chain, so they were kind of stationed out of here helping that place. So tomorrow, I know there's a FEMA shelters being set up. They're going to pass out resources. John and I both signed up to go volunteer at one of those. Kind of offered our help to everybody we know here, and it's pretty devastating. For the rest of us that are used to, like, oh, you get some water damage. There's people here like with no houses and stuff. And we've talked to a few of them, and their first answer always is, well, it's not as bad as other people. You know, they're very humble and very prideful, and we've offered help to all of them, and they're like, oh no, we're fine. But they have like open roofs on their house, and we've asked like for a list of things we could help with. And they've asked for like tarps and like citronella candles to keep mosquitoes away. And the one girl, I'm like, wait, is your house open to the outdoors? And she said, well, yeah, how else are we gonna breathe? She's like, we need some fresh air. She goes, plus there's no wall. And I'm just like, it's shocking, because I don't think back in the mainland we would be as easygoing about it. There hasn't been any looting that we've seen. There hasn't been, the biggest like contentious points have been at the gas stations, where they've limited people on gas because they're running out. That big blue church right there had a hole in its roof yesterday. We drove by. Oh no, I don't want to turn here. I want to go forward and then turn at the next one. Yeah, I think, yeah. It's kind of difficult to drive around when there's no road signs anymore. So all the signs would say like airport this way. They're not here anymore. And of course the tourism is still quite booming. You see a whole bunch of pink Mustangs in this video, because for some reason everyone thinks it's an American thing to drive around in a pink Mustang. So they have like hundreds of them here, and people just rent them thinking that that's what America is like. And I feel bad for anybody that owns a pink Mustang back home, but I don't think I've ever actually seen one driving around. They shut off the power the night before the hurricane hit, so you guys will see us driving over a whole slew of power lines. And that's why they shut it off, is because the power lines always snap, and that way they don't have transformers blowing. So island-wide, the power's been off since 10 p.m. Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday night. So it's Saturday. So a lot of people have generators. Our hotel we're staying at has a generator, but things like air conditioners and stuff like that, they actually give us a letter saying conserve water. The air conditioners be at minimum capacity. They're not doing housekeeping. I know. first world problems, but it is kind of a struggle when you're laying in a hotel room that's like beachfront that gets tons of sunlight and the air conditioner's not running and it's sweltering hot in there and the carpet's gotten soaked, so it smells beautiful, and you just know that there's mold growing. We've got this road cleaned up pretty well. We were over here yesterday and day before, actually, and these kind of ruts on the side because people had to drive over there because there was telephone poles laying across the road, or light poles, or whatever type of poles they are, power poles. One of the big things here is that they don't do a lot of trenching. The local telecom company, Docomo and ITE, they trench a lot of their telecommunication stuff, so fiber and stuff like that. But the power company doesn't trench. Everything's aerial ran. So they always, every time a storm comes through, all these wooden poles snap in half and fall over. So they started replacing them with these concrete ones. That's been a FEMA thing recently, is anytime a wooden one would break, they'd put a concrete one in. Well, in looking at the aftermath of this, there's a whole bunch of concrete ones that have fallen too. And it looks like they only put them about 2-3 foot down, and they don't anchor them in any concrete or anything. So it's a whole lot of weight that starts swinging around and just uproots them or flips them out of the dirt. And probably, I would say, from about this is kind of on the southern third of the island. Yeah, I see it. I would say from about here on south is where the total devastation is. We've gone up kind of northwest side of the island, Saipan, that's where our hotel's at. It's kind of the touristy district. It's not bad up there, but we haven't gone further north. There's a bunch of shrines and stuff from the World War II battle that were up there. We've not gone up there yet. We might take a drive up there today, just see what it looks like. Everyone's kind of given right-of-ways here. Road signs and all that kind of really don't matter.
The majority of the damage, though, is definitely the southern side of the island. Yeah,
the southern side of the island, and that's where a lot of people lived, and it's just roofs are gone, houses are gone. It's interesting. We were reading articles. There's actually a very strict building code here that concrete buildings, concrete roofs, all that kind of stuff is mandatory. The problem is a lot of the local people can't afford it, so they kind of build these houses that aren't conformed to building codes because they can't afford anything else. And it's one of those, would you rather have something to live in or nothing? So the problem is that when these hurricanes hit, their tin roofs are flying off, their structures are being destroyed, and it's just a vicious cycle. They couldn't afford it in the beginning, now they still can't afford it. So it's secular. I know they've Soludar, whatever that one was a hurricane that came through like 3 years ago, something like that. Typhoon. I keep calling them hurricanes. We're from the East Coast, we're from South Carolina, so in our neck of the woods they're hurricanes. But that one came through and did a whole bunch of destruction, and people were just finishing rebuilding from that 3 years later. And we've met multiple people who lost their house with that, were rebuilding it, and just lost their house again. And it's just a cycle of, well, guess we'll try to keep moving forward. This up here is the airport. If you see off in the distance there, it's a control tower. The control tower was destroyed, or it experienced substantial damage, so much so that it was non-functional. Also, the navigation lights at the end of the runway, towers and stuff like that fell over. So we've been told that the only aircraft in and out right now are military transports coming from Guam. I do know some people working in the local telecom company were on some of those flights because they had, I think, 5 or 6 cell towers out. So they were trying to bring people in to get those cell towers up and running. But there would be no inbound tourists at all. They're bringing in a mobile command post, and they're hoping by Sunday to start being able to get some outbound flights happening. But then again, it's one of those backup situations where you've got a whole bunch of people waiting to get in and out of here, and I'm not going to be able to go under that at all. Let's go up here and go over. Actually, follow the dirt path. I'm just driving over this side. This is the commuter side of the airport for local flights between the islands. Northern Mariana Islands are like 14, a chain of 14 islands make up the whole chain. This is U.S. Commonwealth, but this is the commuter side of the airport where you catch like prop planes and that kind of stuff over to the other islands. So it's kind of completely destroyed. And up further ahead, those Pizza Hut looking buildings, that's the international side. It basically flights out to Guam. They call it the international side. It goes to Guam. There's also direct flights to South Korea and some of those kind of places as well. But yeah, this is the airport. We were told Enterprise would be open today. At least there'd be someone up here. They came and towed our car yesterday. We're supposed to come up and fill out some paperwork, accident reports, and all that fun stuff. So I'm gonna swing down this way and swing out the parking lot. But there was numerous cars in here, and as we're about to drive by one that actually got flipped over. So flipped over cars, most cars have some sort of damage, whether it's busted out windshields. I can't get across to there from here, so we're gonna have to loop around. But yeah, you'll see tape on all like back windows. There's windows busted, front windows busted, side of the cars that took like sheet metal through them and all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah. A huge castle looking thing off to the right. I actually asked what that was. Rona said that it was going to be like a big resort hotel place, and they got like a quarter of the way into building it and then just canceled the project. So it just sits there. Seems like half the stuff on this island, that's what it turns into. All the stop signs, all the stop lights, everything's gone. Even if they were standing, I mean, there's no power to use them. Actually, we'll swing down here and turn around. I want to see what this looks like. Down here at the end of this road, there's a jetway. That basically, the jetway takes you from the terminal out to the aircraft. They maneuver up to the aircraft. There's a whole bunch of people at the airport here. I don't know if they're trying to get out or what. Might have flights today. I don't know. But yeah, you can see this jetway down here is completely ripped off. And kind of outside the fence over here is where it ended up. And then as we make a sweep over to the left, you'll see where it started from. It's just crazy. There's a military helicopter right there, taking off. We've been seeing quite a few of those taking off. I don't know where they're going or coming from, but the other two islands of Tinian and Rhoda got hammered as well. And last I heard, we were like 12 hours in, and they hadn't had any communication with anybody on those islands because they couldn't get a hold of them because all communication was out. So I know there's things like MRSATs and Iridium satellite phones, but they weren't able to reach anybody. So I saw some news reports that the runways were in better shape over there. Well, the runways were fine, but they were able to get some flights in and out over there. Here we go. This is the rental car place. I came up here a couple days ago, posted a video, but their windows were smashed out up here as well. But you'll just see rows and rows of rental cars that have damage. And I don't know who's in the auto glass business, but if you're here on the island, yeah. Yeah.
Light poles.
Yeah, light poles snapped in half. So it was a crap shot. Wherever you were parked, you had no clue if you were going to make it or not. Because our hotel had a whole bunch of trees that went down and smashed everybody's cars. And we weren't there, but we were at another building that had a light pole fall down and smash our cars. So it's one of those, you don't know where you're safe at when you park, so you just basically hope for the best. All right, I'm going to shut this off. We're going to head inside, file some paperwork stuff. See you guys.